Thanks so much, Munir. Apologies from CAF today. I'm stepping in at the very last minute. But I think it's a great opportunity for me to be here and to see lots of familiar faces from various different walks of my life. It's fantastic. I've only been at Innovate since October, so we're very much, it's a very exciting time for us at Innovate. As already Sir John has mentioned, all the different activities that we're involved in, particularly the ISCF challenges, for example, and it's really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity now to really grasp all the funding and the opportunities and the activities, all these things that are available to us, and really drive forward with the business-led innovation. Okay, so Innovate UK, just to give a little bit of background on who we are. We are a non-departmental public body and the prime channel through which the government incentivises innovation in business. So we drive productivity and growth, supporting businesses to realise the potential. So really what we see in the UK is a goldmine of opportunities and technologies and just amazing breakthroughs in science. But what we want to do is push them forward into clinical adoption, into business opportunities, into clinical trials. So we support business-led innovation to get them out there, to get them into the market and to make them available to patients. So our overall aim is to keep the UK globally competitive. So we want to be leaders in our innovation areas, and that's our key aim there, to enhance the future prosperity for the UK. So last year we had our 10-year birthday. So this is what we've taken the opportunity to summarise sort of our key deliverables over the 10 years. So I've highlighted that here. So over the 10 years, we've invested a total of 2.2 billion into business-led innovation. That has been match funded from industry, approximately 1.5 billion, taking it to about 3.75 billion. And with this money, we've funded around 11,000 projects, created 70,000 jobs in total, which I think is all really impressive. I think it just shows that the process works, and this whole push towards industry works. And for every pound that we've invested of public money, we've achieved £7.30 back into the UK economy. So it's a pretty good return on investment. And also mentioned already by Sir John, we don't work in isolation. We collaborate with various different organisations. Obviously, the government departments that we work closely with on a day-to-day basis, and then various or the research councils who are part of the family moving forward into UKRI, as well as various different business organisations that support business-led innovation in the devolved administrations. So we're a diverse family. We work with various different groups on a day-to-day basis. And precision medicine is a very key priority theme for Innovate UK. And we have to kind of define precision medicine carefully within Innovate, because we have all these other different innovation areas working. So strategically, what we focus on is enabling early and accurate diagnosis to inform patient management or selection of therapy. So we're really focusing on the diagnostics, the novel diagnostics, the opportunities there, and the data management side of things. So you can see our other areas are complementary also. So we have an advanced therapy innovation area and discovery medicine innovation area. And I do firmly believe we're in a unique position, as I already mentioned, with all these technologies and opportunities to lead the global precision medicine revolution, and through this investment in key areas of business-led innovation. So just to summarise kind of areas where we're supporting, and I'm going to give you an exclusive today as well on one of the programmes that we're just kicking off, and I'm directly involved in. So our kind of bread and butter, if you like, is really precision medicine funding competitions, and you'll see these on the website. And I would suggest that at any one time, there will be a precision medicine theme in one of these competitions, whether it be one of these specific precision medicine competitions, whether it be one of the health and life sciences programmes, or the wider open or biomedical catalyst. There will usually be a flavour there where you can look at submitting a proposal to us. So we have new models now, and I'm going to talk about these today. We have some new models emerging of how we're going to fund, and these are working with co-funders. One of these is with private investors, which I'm leading that initiative for precision medicine, and the other is co-funding with charities. So I'm very proud to be telling you about all these new opportunities here as well. So John's already mentioned the Industrial Strategy Challenge Fund, which is obviously a very strong key deliverable for us at Innovate UK, along with UKRI. And obviously there's a strong theme there, as already talked about, in data to early diagnosis and precision medicine, and also digital health and technology catalyst as well. I'm going to talk a little bit about those as well. So we also look at, as I mentioned, we look at the innovation that's available and how we can support companies to actually exploit their technologies and get them out there and to make business opportunities for them. So we have a whole focus on workshops and networking opportunities, focused on customer requirements. What are the end user requirements? And it was interesting, the discussion earlier around involving patients, because that's exactly the kind of direction we're going in, involving the paying customers, involving patients, involving all the kind of stakeholders there, to really understand what they're looking for at an early stage of the development of that innovation. So one workshop we ran last week, I don't know if anybody here who went to that last week, was to look at clear value propositions for the NHS, for adoption into the NHS. So we looked at why these technologies are not getting into the clinic, why they're not becoming business opportunities. How can we convince companies to come up with very clear value propositions that actually attract this kind of adoption? So I'm going to describe a little bit about that as well. And also business-to-business opportunities. So my background is mostly from large pharma, actually. So I was at Pfizer for 9 years. And during that time, I spent a lot of my time scouting for technologies. That was kind of one of my roles there, was to look for novel technologies and how we might implement them, how we might compare them to internal applications that we already had available, for example. And so this is a real opportunity. If there are people here from pharma who are interested in novel diagnostics, I'd be very interested to talk to you today. What we're looking for are need statements from pharma companies, and then what we're hoping to do is match them up to the companies that we're funding, and then have a speed networking event where you have, say, 5 minutes with the pharma companies and the innovators, to work out if there's mutual interest, to work out where the technology is and how it might be applied in the pharma, in the clinical trials, for example. So summarising our investments in precision medicine, we've had a look at the overall portfolio, and over this time we've invested approximately £86 million in precision medicine. And here we've highlighted sort of key therapeutic areas that we've invested in. I'd say on more recent calls that won't be captured in this yet, we have included paediatric medicine, as obviously we've already discussed the opportunities there, and the opportunities in terms of technology available in the UK and the strong market need for those approaches to be commercialised, to become available in the clinic. So we are looking at other therapeutic areas and keeping our eye on what is happening. And success stories. So I've just highlighted 3 success stories that have recently been making the headlines. So these are all Innovate UK funded companies here. So Perspectum Diagnostics, the liver multiscan, you might have seen a lot about that recently. And this is a digital platform that works alongside MRI scanners, so non-invasively diagnoses fatty liver disease. So this is becoming a really huge problem. So the incidence of fatty liver disease is looking to be around 20% in the population. So you can imagine it's a large population there that could be affected by this. This achieved FDA clearance November last year, and a recent health economics study suggested that by implementing liver multiscan in place of liquid biopsies could save around £150 per patient for the NHS. So you imagine 20% of people requiring this kind of approach. That's a huge saving for the NHS potentially. And I just want to highlight Alstone Medical breath biopsy, which is a device, non-invasive diagnostic for cancer, infectious disease and inflammatory disease. Measures volatile organic compounds in exhaled breath. So very simple to use, point of care diagnostic. This has been integrated into COPD phase 2 clinical trials. This was announced last year. And now they've raised a further £11 million to launch the lung cancer breath biopsy. So they're making great progress there to really getting this out there in the clinic as a marketable product. And that was through 325k of seed funding from Innovate UK. And yeah, Obtellum, these stories coming out all the time really, but this was highlighted on BBC World News recently, could save the NHS, and this is all around artificial intelligence and how we may capture data more eloquently from images and more accurate information from those images. So I mentioned the work we're doing and how we're evolving the way that we fund projects and programmes. And this is one that's actually open at the moment with Asthma UK. So we are co-funding projects with Asthma UK, and there's a real opportunity here for us to work in a sort of larger community in working in asthma. So we have access to different groups, wider groups, and also for some of these projects, these academic projects a lot of the time, to be pushed towards commercialisation. So it's a real opportunity both ways there. So this is open now. It closes next week. The £1.25 million competition to co-fund patient-centric science and broker research collaboration. So grants of up to 250k, project length to 3 years. And really what we're looking for is developing quick, accurate, reliable, low-cost, non-invasive tools differentiating between asthma phenotypes. So that's one example, and this has been hugely successful so far in the process, and it's potentially that we may follow up with other similar approaches with other charities as well. And this is something that I've been driving since I've joined Innovate UK, and we're calling this Innovate UK Investment Accelerator, and this is co-funding with VCs essentially of interesting commercial projects. We ran a pilot last year. This was across health of life sciences as well as other sectors as well with Innovate UK. And these are the partners that were involved in the pilot study. Not to say they'll be involved moving forward. These are the partners in the first pilot study. And this was highlighted in a Times article earlier this year, so you may have seen that. And I'm going to announce today that following this successful pilot, we are going to be running an investment accelerator in precision medicine, and that will be opening later on this year. So the advantage to having this kind of model is obviously Innovate UK have access to UK-wide companies, so across the UK, all different areas of innovation. And we have our own process for validating quality projects. So we do a peer review process with 5 independent reviewers, for example. We have our own process that I've already shown has had great success in terms of return on investment into the UK economy. The partners also have their own quality procedures and ways that they review the prospective projects. However, they also have a direct influence on the company, which Innovate UK may not have that. And they also have additional access to markets and further funding opportunities. So it's a really attractive model, I think, from all different angles here. We're looking to maximise impact, reduce risk through aligning these processes. What we've noticed is quite often the companies that are selected by us are the same companies that are selected by a lot of the VCs. So it makes sense to align this process as well. And this is overviewing the pilot accelerator that we ran last year. We invested £3 million into health and life sciences projects. And these were all feasibility studies, so relatively small studies, less than 150k with matched investor funding. And this, interestingly, 100% funding is available for the project costs through this approach, because it's funded by both VCs and Innovate UK. We funded 30 deals from this across different areas, and you can see there the geographical spread, although you can see a triangle, but we're looking UK-wide, and we are funding projects across the UK. So, Precision Medicine Investment Accelerator. So, what we plan to do is launch this at BioTrinity next month for investors to apply for this. And so, putting this together with the scope and the opportunities, we're investing in opportunities to improve the way that we accurately diagnose, monitor and treat disease. So, again, the right treatment, the right time to the right patient. Similar to the pilot study, this will be simultaneous grant and venture capital funding for SMEs, and to support commercial development of game-changing precision medicine innovation. I'm going to describe a little bit about the scope in a minute. 100% funding, again, similar to the pilot study. Projects up to 24-month duration, so these are potentially larger projects than the initial pilot study. And 2 stages of the competition. I already mentioned we're launching at BioTrinity that week. So the investor partners will apply to us first. And already I've been working with a number of VCs to actually identify areas which they're particularly interested in precision medicine, and aligning it with our own strategy. So you make sure that it's the sweet spot of areas for investment. And then stage 2 will be an application process for the SMEs, and this will open 23rd of July this year. So heard it here first. And in terms of scope, it's quite a broad scope, but I have been, as I said, working with VCs to ensure there's mutual interest in these areas. So next generation diagnostics, and we're really looking at the next wave of diagnostics. What are the new technologies? What are the game-changing technologies out there? Examples of multi-omic technology platforms, liquid biopsies, extracellular vesicles, on that kind of vein, on that kind of line. What is the next one? We're also expanding to tailor-made therapies designed according to each patient's molecular diagnosis. So this is really driving the therapeutic opportunities for precision medicine. Breakthrough point-of-care wearable or implantable devices, and again, similar to the diagnostics, we are looking for what's the newest, what's the next thing that's coming out. We've seen a lot in the media around these biosensor tattoos, ink that can pick up glucose, the levels of glucose in the blood, for example. Really exciting technologies out there. And there's these closed-loop devices that dose the patient with the right dose of drug at the right time, dependent on their own biomarkers that have been monitoring. So we are looking for what is the next thing. Also, there's an artificial intelligence applied to precision medicine, and I'll come on to that when I talk about the Industrial Strategy Challenge Fund and how that aligns. But really, it's pretty open scope with the focus on breakthrough technologies moving forward. So it leads me on to Industrial Strategy Challenge Fund. So the ISCF came from the need to invest in science, research and innovation. We must become a more innovative economy, do more to commercialise, I've already said this, to commercialise our world-leading science, to ensure we are world-leading in this, drive growth across the UK, make us market leaders. And this originally came from the National Productivity Investment Fund, which was increased in the autumn budget 2017. And overall, the whole investment in R&D funding is £7 billion, and that's broken down by these different funds. So there's 4 grand challenges to ISCF. They're highlighted here. And what the whole process is to bring together sector expertise to solve some of the key societal challenges of our time through business-led innovation. So Innovate UK, together with UKRI, are in prime position to deliver on these challenges. And Wave 1, so we've already seen quite a lot in the news around the investment for Wave 1 challenges. And there's a focus there on medicines manufacturing, 146 million to develop first-in-kind technologies for medicines manufacturing. So you may have seen the announcements recently that we're investing in 3 different advanced therapy treatment centres in the UK, for example. This is as well as a centre to develop viral vector delivery systems, as well as various collaborative R&D approaches from that as well. So that's really pushing that forward and it's leading edge in terms of producing these new medicines. The Digital Health Technology Catalyst, this is, there's a call open at the moment, which is the second round of this. So this takes the form of collaborative R&D. And this is really in response to the Accelerated Access Review. How can we get these digital technologies into the NHS, to the patient, and to transform healthcare delivery? So this is really on the back of that. And the one, I think, of key interest here, and it's already been highlighted by Sir John, is the data to early diagnosis and precision medicine. So combining the wealth of data that we have available with real-world evidence to transform the health service. And through this, we're going to create new products and services to diagnose diseases earlier is the key, and help clinicians choose the best treatment for individual patients. So a huge amount going on. As I said, a huge opportunity in precision medicine in terms of business-led innovation. So this is part of the overall healthy ageing challenge. And so it's quite interesting that one third of all babies born today are likely to live to be 100, which I find incredible. So, you know, the push here is around, you know, how can we improve quality of life? How can we promote independent lifestyle? And this is all linked also to the data to early diagnosis, where we want to diagnose diseases earlier and make them more manageable. So, in terms of Wave 2 challenges, 10 out of the 10 challenges being progressed, 2 are in health and life sciences. And I've already mentioned a lot about these, and Sir John also broke this down in terms of the 3 work streams, and I've highlighted them here. In terms of for the data to early diagnosis, genomics, whole genome sequencing of 500,000 subjects from the UK Biobank. So these are healthy individuals, and their health has been tracked over the years. So it's really important data, particularly when we're trying to pick up an early diagnosis and early indications of disease. It's a really useful data set, as well as the 25,000 matched samples from the cancer database. So Sir John also talked a lot about digital innovation hubs, and this enables industry to access key clinical data. There's a lot going on there as well. And another key strand is digital pathology, and really applying artificial intelligence to extract that data from the radiology, from the pathology, and ultimately combine it with all the medical record data, the phenotype data, and the genomic data, and be very powerful to bring that all together. Okay. So we're running a third wave of industrial strategy. So there is a call at the moment on the Innovate UK website to look for ideas really for the third wave. So these will be under the original 4 grand challenges. So if you have an idea for how innovation of this type may impact business, may impact patient, then please do have a look at that, and we'd be very interested to hear. And I mentioned the precision medicine workshop and around how we're supporting businesses to come up with a value proposition. This is just highlighting the output from that workshop last week. The challenge, as I've already mentioned, is lower than expected uptake of new medicines into the NHS. Innovators tending to focus on the technology and not the adoption drivers. So really we had a room full of different stakeholders to understand what was stopping us from putting together these clear, eloquent value propositions that are going to make a difference. And we had some scribers in the room, which was really interesting approach, I thought, because the emphasis was on how you describe this technology to layman's and how you would clearly describe this to the public. So to have professional scribers in who were artists, essentially, not scientists, was a really interesting way, I think, to get the message across. So this is the first output, was a poster, but we're following this up with animations that were being developed by this company. So I think this was a tremendously fun, interesting and useful way to support businesses. And finally, just to summarise really where we are at the moment in terms of open competitions, as I mentioned, there are various different flavours of competitions, and these are ones that are open at the moment. I've already mentioned Digital Health Technology Catalyst and Asthma UK. There's various different strands here. Open competitions, always consider those as a possibility if you've got something outside of the key themes, and that's an interesting route forward. So forthcoming competitions, we have another Catalyst opening 26th of March. And what I did notice when I was going through these slides is that we've actually missed off the Investment Accelerator, which is kind of a key theme of this talk as well. But Investment Accelerator is on its way also. And thank you very much. And this is actually Kath's details on here, but thank you to Kath as well for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you very much.